My name is Jenna Whitaker. I'm 34 years old, and I secretly bought a $1 million house without telling my family a single word. I thought moving day would be quiet. I thought I would unlock the front door, walk into my new life, and finally breathe in a place nobody could touch. Instead, when I pulled into the driveway, a moving truck was already parked outside my house. My brother's wife was on the porch, pointing like she owned the place. Boxes were stacked by the front door. Furniture was being carried through the hallway. Her family was laughing in the yard, choosing rooms, measuring walls, and talking about where their holiday decorations would go. Nobody asked why I was there. Nobody looked guilty. One person even waved at me and said, "Perfect timing. We need extra hands." So I smiled. I helped them carry boxes into my $1 million house. I let them celebrate. I let them get comfortable. And then someone opened the wrong folder on the kitchen island. That was when the shouting started. Before I tell you what they found in that folder, tell me this. Where are you watching from right now? And what would you have done if you came home to strangers moving into the house you secretly bought? To understand why I smiled instead of screaming, you need to understand how my family worked. I was never the loud one. I was never the dramatic one. I was the useful one. I worked as a senior medical equipment supply chain analyst for a hospital vendor outside Baltimore, which meant my days were filled with contracts, delivery delays, emergency purchase orders, and quiet problems nobody noticed unless I failed to solve them. I was good at my job because I was patient, organized, and calm under pressure. Those same qualities made my family think I had no needs of my own. My older brother, Ryan Whitaker, was 37, charming in the way people call charming when they mean unreliable, and married to Kelsey Whitaker, a woman who could turn any inconvenience into a family emergency. Kelsey was not subtle. She liked expensive things, emotional speeches, public gratitude, and private pressure. She believed wanting something badly was almost the same as deserving it. My parents, Diane and Harold Whitaker, spent years feeding that belief. If Ryan's job changed, they helped with rent. If Kelsey wanted a newer SUV, they called it practical. If they hosted a dinner and forgot to bring anything, my mother said they were overwhelmed. If I solved a problem quietly, everyone forgot there had ever been a problem at all. I learned early that my achievements made the room uncomfortable. When I got my first major promotion, my father said, "Don't let work consume your life." When Ryan got a temporary sales award at his company, my mother framed the certificate and put it on the mantel. When I paid off my student loans, Kelsey asked if that meant I could contribute more to family vacations. When I said I was saving, she laughed and said, "Saving for what, Jenna? You live like you're still renting your first apartment." She was right about one thing. I did live simply. I drove an older Honda. I packed lunch. I bought furniture from estate sales and wore the same winter coat for 6 years. What they did not know was that I had spent a decade building a life they could not measure. I had retirement accounts, emergency savings, and a small side business organizing supply systems for independent clinics. I had also bought and sold 2 modest condos carefully, never bragging, never asking for applause. Then I found the house in Annapolis. It sat in Eastport, close enough to the water to smell salt in the air, but tucked on a quiet street where neighbors waved without needing your whole history. It had 4 bedrooms, a wide kitchen, a deep front porch, and a detached carriage house that I planned to renovate into a small rental studio. It was listed at $1 million, exactly the kind of number my family would have laughed at if I had said it out loud. But I did not need them to believe me. I needed a clean title, verified funds, and a good attorney. Miranda Scott handled the closing. She was sharp, precise, and not impressed by family emotion disguised as legal argument. The mistake began because my parents had been talking about helping Ryan and Kelsey with a rental deposit somewhere nearby. Kelsey heard house, saw a moving confirmation on my mother's phone, and created an entire fantasy before anyone corrected her. My parents should have stopped it. Ryan should have checked. Kelsey should have asked questions. Instead, they all let the story become more comfortable than the truth. And because I had told nobody about my closing, I drove to Annapolis that Saturday morning expecting an empty house, a new key, and silence. By the time I stepped inside, half of Kelsey's life was already in my foyer. There were wardrobe boxes stacked against the staircase, plastic bins lined up in the dining room, framed wedding photos leaning against my freshly painted wall, and a giant sectional sofa wedged halfway through the living room entrance while two movers argued about angles. Kelsey stood in the center of it, all wearing white jeans and a headset like she was directing a television renovation. She looked at me, not with surprise, but with relief. "Jenna, finally. Can you take those boxes to the back room?" I looked past her at Ryan, who was carrying a lamp under one arm and pretending not to notice my face. My parents were there too. My mother had tears in her eyes, happy tears, the kind she saved for Ryan's milestones. My father stood near the kitchen, hands in his pockets, avoiding the folder on the island like paper could accuse him. "Isn't it beautiful?" my mother said, grabbing my arm. "They finally have room to start over." I asked, "Start over where?" She blinked like the question annoyed her. "Here, Jenna, obviously." I kept my voice soft. "You bought this exact house?" Kelsey laughed from the hallway. "Technically, Harold and Diane helped us get it. Family blessing, right?" My father cleared his throat. "We were helping with arrangements." "Arrangements," I repeated. "Did anyone close on this house?" Ryan set the lamp down too quickly. "Real estate has a million steps. Mom said it was handled." "Whose name is on the paperwork?" I asked. Kelsey waved her hand. "Jenna, please do not do your little document interrogation thing today. We are exhausted." That was when I understood. They had not been tricked by a fake seller. They had not been scammed by a realtor. They had simply decided that if something looked like a blessing, it belonged to them. I could have ended it right there. I could have pulled out my phone, called Miranda, and watched the color drain from every face in the room. But something inside me went very still. For years, my family had treated my silence like permission. They assumed I would absorb discomfort, smooth over conflict, and protect everyone from the consequences of their own behavior. So I gave them exactly what they expected. I smiled and said, "Sure. Show me where everything goes." Kelsey beamed. "That's the spirit." For the next 2 hours, I helped carry boxes into my own house. I placed dishes in my kitchen cabinets, while Kelsey told me the blue tile was not her favorite, but she could live with it for now. I carried folded blankets upstairs, while her mother discussed turning one of my bedrooms into a meditation room. Ryan asked if the detached carriage house had separate utilities because it might be perfect for guests, or maybe a side hustle. My father watched me closely, and once, when nobody else was listening, he whispered, "Jenna, don't make this ugly." I almost laughed. They were dragging furniture across my floors, claiming my rooms, and building a future on my deed, but I was the one who might make it ugly. Kelsey kept talking. She said the neighborhood would finally help Ryan network with better people. She said the kitchen would be amazing for content. She said maybe I would be inspired to stop hiding in small spaces and small goals. I smiled again. Maybe. Then Ryan went looking for the Wi-Fi router. He opened the pantry, the laundry cabinet, and finally the drawer beside the kitchen island. That was where Miranda's closing folder sat beneath a set of keys and the final walkthrough notes. I had left it there the night before after meeting the inspector. Ryan pulled it out, frowned at the law office label, and flipped open the cover. I saw his shoulders tighten. I saw him read the first page twice. I did not stop him. The house went quiet before anyone understood why. Ryan was standing beside the kitchen island with the folder open in both hands, his face emptied of that careless confidence he wore like a family inheritance. Kelsey noticed first. "What is it?" she asked. He did not answer. He turned another page, slower this time. She crossed the kitchen, snatched the folder from him, and looked down. Her expression shifted so quickly it almost looked theatrical. Confusion, irritation, fear. Then rage. "Wait a minute," she said. Nobody moved. My mother stopped unwrapping a vase. My father closed his eyes. Kelsey read out loud in pieces, like the words were insulting her personally. Buyer, Jenna Marie Whitaker. Purchase price, $1 million. Closing date? She looked up at me. "Why is your name on our house?" I leaned against the counter and folded my arms. "Because it is my house." The sentence landed harder than a shout. Ryan whispered, "Jenna." Kelsey slammed the folder onto the island. "No, absolutely not. This is not funny." "I agree," I said. "It is not funny." My mother began crying immediately, but not the happy kind this time. "There has to be some confusion." My father muttered, "Diane, I told you we needed to slow this down." Kelsey spun toward him. "You promised us a house." "We promised help," he said. "We talked about a deposit, maybe a townhome. Not this." Ryan put both hands on his head. "Mom said it was handled." "Mom was not the buyer," I said. "Dad was not the buyer. You were not the buyer. Kelsey was not the buyer. I was." Kelsey pointed at me. "You set us up." I laughed once, very quietly. "I bought a house. You moved into it without checking the deed." "You knew we thought it was ours," she snapped. "I knew you were acting like it was yours. That is different." Ryan looked sick. "Why didn't you say something when you got here?" I turned to him. "Why didn't you ask why I was here?" He had no answer. Kelsey tried another angle. "You cannot afford this. You drive a 12-year-old car." "Verified funds cleared before closing," I said. "Miranda Scott can confirm it." My mother grabbed my sleeve. "Please do not bring lawyers into a family misunderstanding." I gently removed her hand. This stopped being a misunderstanding when they carried a king bed into my primary bedroom. Then I called Miranda on speaker. She answered on the third ring, calm as always. "Jenna," I said, "I'm at the Annapolis property. There are people here who believed they had permission to move in. Can you confirm ownership?" Kelsey scoffed loudly, but her hands were shaking. Miranda paused for one professional second. "You are the sole legal owner of the property. No other individual has ownership rights based on the documents recorded after closing." "And if they refuse to leave?" I asked. "Then we treat it as unauthorized occupancy and proceed formally. I recommend documenting everything and giving written notice immediately." The room changed after that. Not emotionally, legally. The movers had already left for lunch. Kelsey's relatives had taken pictures in front of the porch. Ryan had forwarded the address to coworkers. My mother looked at my father like he had ruined her favorite dream. My father looked 10 years older. Kelsey whispered, "Our old lease ended yesterday." Ryan added, "New tenants move in next week." I said, "That sounds like something you should have confirmed before moving." Kelsey stared at the folder again. "You let us move everything in." I picked up my keys from the island. "I let you show me who you were." Then I gave them until Monday morning at 8 to remove every item from my property. Saturday night turned my new house into a storage unit with witnesses. Kelsey called 3 moving companies and got the same answer every time. No full crew until Monday. Ryan called his old landlord and discovered that sympathy does not cancel a signed lease. My parents tried to corner me in the dining room while Kelsey cried loudly upstairs, not because she was sorry, but because reality was being rude to her. My mother said, "Jenna, please, they cannot sleep in a parking lot." I said, "I never told them to sleep in a parking lot." My father said, "School starts soon. They need stability." Then the adults should have made stable decisions. My mother flinched like I had said something cruel. That was always her trick. The moment I stated a fact, she reacted as if facts were weapons. Ryan asked if they could stay just for the weekend. Kelsey refused to look at me while he asked, which told me everything. She still believed asking was beneath her. I agreed to one weekend, not because they deserved it, but because I refused to let innocent people be used as shields in an argument adults created. I wrote the conditions on paper while Miranda listened on the phone. No guests, no social media posts from inside or outside the property, no changing locks, no mail forwarding, no opening the detached carriage house, no entering the primary suite or office after I secured them. Everything out by Monday at 8 in the morning. Any damage would be billed. Ryan signed first. Kelsey stared at the paper for almost a full minute. "This is humiliating," she said. "Moving into a house you did not own was humiliating," I said. "This is documentation." Sunday morning, I returned with Miranda. I had barely slept. My first night as a homeowner had been spent in a hotel because my brother's family was sleeping under my roof. When we walked in, the house smelled like takeout, candle wax, and entitlement. Kelsey had hung temporary curtains in the living room. Ryan had mounted a television bracket into the wall without permission. Someone had dragged a dining table across the old oak floor and left a pale scratch that ran like a scar through the finish. Miranda took photos without commentary. That was one of the reasons I liked her. She did not gasp. She did not comfort. She collected proof. My mother followed us around whispering excuses. They were stressed. Photo. The movers rushed them. Photo. It is just a small mark. Photo. Kelsey appeared at the top of the stairs wearing my house like a costume that no longer fit. "Are you enjoying this?" she asked. "No," I said. "That is the difference between us. I do not need your embarrassment to feel important." Ryan came from the hallway carrying a toolbox. He looked ashamed, which was new, but not useful. "I'll fix the wall," he said. "A licensed contractor will fix the wall," Miranda replied. "You will reimburse Jenna." My father pulled me aside near the foyer. "This is getting expensive." I looked at him. "For whom?" He swallowed. He knew the answer. For the first time, it was not automatically going to be me. Monday morning, the movers arrived at 7:15. Kelsey did not speak to me. Ryan barely did. My parents paid for the crew because Ryan's credit card declined on the deposit. Furniture that had entered my home as a victory parade left as evidence. The sectional got stuck again. A dresser chipped the stair trim. Kelsey cried when her mother asked where everything was going, because there was no new home waiting. Their belongings went into a storage unit near the highway. They checked into an extended stay hotel outside Annapolis with a kitchenette, 2 queen beds, and a weekly rate my father pretended not to hate. Before leaving, my mother said, "I hope you are proud." I looked around my scratched floor, patched wall, and half-empty foyer. "I am," I said. "I am proud I finally protected what belongs to me." The video Kelsey posted did more damage than the move itself. She had filmed everything before the folder ruined her fantasy. The front porch, the street corner, the kitchen, Ryan carrying boxes, her parents cheering, my mother crying, and a caption that said, "After years of waiting, our family finally has the home we deserve." She did not show the deed. She did not show the weekend agreement. She did not show the movers returning on Monday with everyone silent and furious. But the internet has a way of noticing holes in a story, especially when relatives are bored and group chats exist. My Aunt Linda saw the video and texted my mother, "I thought Jenna bought a place this month. Is this connected?" My cousin Mark asked why Kelsey was thanking my parents if no purchase announcement had been made. Someone noticed the address area and said the listing had closed under a different name. By Tuesday night, the family group chat was a courtroom without rules. Kelsey wrote that I had weaponized paperwork. Ryan said everyone needed privacy. My mother said there had been a painful misunderstanding. My father said nothing, which was the closest thing to honesty he had offered. I posted one message. For clarity, I purchased the Annapolis property legally. No one else owns it. Any claims that the house was gifted, shared, promised, transferred, or purchased for another family are false. Then I left the chat. Kelsey called me 14 times. Ryan called 6. My mother left 3 voicemails, each one beginning with disappointment and ending with money. I did not answer. Miranda sent a formal demand for reimbursement for the floor, wall, trim damage, unauthorized installation, cleaning, and legal fees related to the incident. Ryan said it was excessive. The contractor said it was accurate. Kelsey said I was destroying them financially. Their own decisions were doing that without my help. They lost their old rental because new tenants had signed. The extended stay hotel cost more in 2 weeks than their rent had cost in a month. Storage fees started stacking. Ryan's employer heard about the video because one of his coworkers had commented congratulations before the truth came out. Apparently, posting a house you do not own and thanking people who did not buy it makes management question your judgment when your job involves client relationships. His hours were reduced while his manager reassessed account assignments. Kelsey's small lifestyle page, which she had been trying to turn into an income stream, became a problem too. People did not like the way she complained publicly about being robbed of stability when the comments started asking whether she had ever signed closing papers. She deleted the video, then reposted a vague quote about envy, then deleted that too. My parents paid the hotel bill for the first 3 weeks. My father dipped into a savings account he had once described as untouchable. My mother started mentioning going back to part-time bookkeeping, but she framed it like sacrifice, not consequence. Through all of it, I moved into my house slowly. I changed the locks. I hired cleaners. I met the neighbors and apologized for the chaotic first impression. I slept on a mattress on the floor the first night because my furniture delivery had been delayed, and still, that empty room felt better than any family dinner I had ever forced myself to attend. For once, silence did not mean I was being ignored. It meant nobody was taking anything from me. Then, on a Thursday afternoon, Kelsey showed up at my workplace lobby in Baltimore. She wore sunglasses indoors and demanded security calm me down. "Tell her it is family," she said. Security called my desk. I said, "She is not welcome. Please ask her to leave." Kelsey shouted loud enough that 2 co-workers heard the echo through the lobby phone. She said I was hiding behind strangers. She said I had ruined Ryan. She said she knew I was enjoying my little moment. I stayed at my desk. 10 minutes later, security escorted her outside. That was when I knew the final confrontation was coming. People like Kelsey do not disappear when they lose. They return with witnesses and call it family. 3 weeks later, they came back to the house together. I saw them first through the new doorbell camera, my parents standing close to the porch steps, Ryan behind them with his arms crossed, and Kelsey slightly ahead of everyone, like she had been appointed spokesperson by her own resentment. I did not open the door right away. I watched them stand in front of the house they had tried to claim and noticed how different they looked without the moving truck, the cheering relatives, and the fantasy. My mother was crying before I even reached the foyer. My father looked exhausted. Ryan looked embarrassed and angry in equal amounts. Kelsey looked determined, which worried me more than tears ever could. I opened the door but left the storm door locked. "You need to leave," I said. My father raised both palms. "Jenna, please. We are not here to fight." "Then why are you here?" My mother wiped her face. "We need a family solution." That phrase almost made me smile. In my family, a family solution usually meant I gave something up so everyone else could stop feeling uncomfortable. Ryan stepped forward. "The hotel is too expensive. We found a couple rentals, but nothing is working out yet." Kelsey added, "Your carriage house is empty." There it was. Not an apology, not accountability. A new request dressed as desperation. The detached carriage house behind my home was unfinished, full of tools, paint samples, and contractor estimates. I planned to renovate it into a rental studio someday, maybe for traveling nurses or graduate students. Kelsey had seen empty space and translated it into entitlement. "No," I said. My mother made a small, wounded sound. "You did not even think about it." "I thought about it before you finished asking." My father's voice hardened. "You have more than enough." I looked at him through the glass. "That sentence is why you are not coming inside." Silence spread across the porch. Ryan rubbed his jaw. "I lost hours at work, Jenna. We are trying to recover." "Then recover somewhere else." Kelsey laughed sharply. "You love this." "No, Kelsey, I love peace. That is why I bought the house." Her face twisted. "You bought this house to prove you were better than me." For the first time that day, I unlocked the storm door and stepped onto the porch. I wanted her to hear me without glass between us. I bought this house because I wanted one place in the world where nobody treated my life like spare change. I bought it because I was tired of being useful, quiet, available, and invisible. You turned it into revenge when you walked through my front door and decided ownership was something you could inherit from my parents' guilt. Ryan looked down. My mother whispered, "That is not fair." I turned to her. Fair was never the family language. Ryan needed help, and you called it love. I needed respect, and you called it attitude. Kelsey demanded more, and you called it stress. I protected myself once, and suddenly I am destroying the family. My father said, "We made mistakes." "No," I said, "you made a system." The mistake was thinking I would keep living inside it. Kelsey stepped closer. "So that is it? You are going to let your own brothers struggle?" I looked at Ryan. He is not struggling because I bought a house. He is struggling because he moved into one he did not own. Ryan finally spoke clearly. "I should have checked." Kelsey whipped around. "Do not start." But he did not continue. That was the tragedy of Ryan. He could see the truth for 1 second at a time, but never long enough to choose it over comfort. Behind them, a black sedan pulled up to the curb. Miranda stepped out with a folder in her hand. My mother's face collapsed. "You called your lawyer?" "I checked the camera before opening the door," I said. "So yes." Miranda walked up beside me and nodded politely, as if this were any other appointment. She handed my father an envelope. "This is written notice that you are not permitted to enter or remain on the property without Jenna's express written permission. Future contact regarding the property, reimbursement, or disputes should go through my office." My father stared at the paper. "This is family." Miranda did not blink. "This is property." Kelsey looked at me like I had betrayed her by learning the rules. "You are really choosing a house over us." I shook my head. "No, I am choosing myself over being used by you." My mother reached for me, but I stepped back. That small movement hurt her more than anything I said. Maybe because it proved something had ended. Not the argument, not the housing problem. The role? I was no longer the daughter who stayed close enough to be blamed. They left in pieces. My father first, reading the notice as he walked. My mother next, crying into her sleeve. Ryan paused at the steps and said, "I am sorry." I believed he meant it in that moment. I also knew a moment was not a repair. Kelsey was last. She looked back at the porch, the windows, the brass number beside the door, and I could see she still wanted the house. Not forgiveness, not family, the house. After they left, I changed the gate code again. I added 2 more cameras. I filed the final damage claim. Miranda handled every response after that. Ryan and Kelsey eventually moved into a smaller apartment outside Annapolis, far from the waterfront and farther from the life Kelsey had posted online. My father delayed retirement. My mother took part-time bookkeeping work and told relatives it was because family helps family. Ryan sold his truck to cover debt. Kelsey stopped posting house content and started posting quotes about resilience. I did not attend Thanksgiving. I did not answer Christmas calls. I did not accept apologies that arrived only after consequences became expensive. Sometimes people think freedom feels loud, like a door slamming or a final speech. Mine felt quiet. It sounded like my own key turning in my own lock. It looked like sunlight across old oak floors after the scratches were repaired. It felt like standing in a kitchen nobody could claim over me. That house did not give me a family. It gave me proof. Proof that the people who called me selfish only loved me when I was useful, and once I stopped being useful, I finally became free.
We truly appreciate your support and your time. This video is fictional and created only for education, entertainment, and storytelling purposes. We hope it reminds you that the most powerful transformation can begin when you stop waiting for others to change and start changing what you are willing to accept.